Thanks to the support as a channel member, Harvey2478. I really like the way sometimes Football Manager just deliberately lines up with stuff that's going on in real life. I'm literally flying back from Rome right now, not as I'm recording, obviously, as you're watching, assuming you're watching when it first comes out. Roma match day vlog coming very soon to the channel. But first, we play them with Dortmund. Hello and welcome to Club 3, part 27 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have both legs of the Champions League quarter-final against Roma. Since you were last with me, just the one match played. The games start to come thick and fast at the business end of the season, but we put 5 goals past Hoffenheim, which means Bundesliga looks like this. Bayern Munich still very much breathing down our necks after beating us in yesterday's episode. I don't want to talk about it. But let's go beat Roma. Roma, who are currently third in Serie A, one of the 3 teams who are in with a chance of actually winning the league. They're 6 points behind Inter, but do have a game in hand. Milan getting involved in that mix as well. So Roma are a good side, but we have got previous with them. We played them in last year's Champions League. Where was it? It was at this stage last year. We beat them 3-1 away and then 3-0 at home. So assuming they've not progressed faster than we have, you would like to think we should be able to beat them again. Jude Bellingham's still not fit to start, although he is fit enough to sit on the bench, means it is a very familiar looking team to the one that played in the second match of the previous episode. We've still going with normal wing backs rather than the inverted stuff, the libero stuff. We're going with this for now. I'm sure we'll revert back to the other one again when we need it. It's nice to have options. But for now, it's Antonio Carlos in goal, a back four of Gray, Suarez, Caldera, and Ferreira. Van Ajmer at the base of the midfield, Ayadeli and Ruiz ahead of him, Emil Hiskey on the left, Herrera on the right, Big Kev up front. Goals are what is required here. We're at home in the first leg. We want a nice, comfortable win to take the pressure off for the second leg. Ideally, I mean, the dream is that we win like 8-0 and then we'll just skip forward and show you the semi-final, the second leg of the semi-final, and we'll start really racing through the season. But obviously we don't want to tempt fate too much. We will show you all that is necessary to show you to make sure the game doesn't realise I'm getting overconfident, because it does like to batter me when I get overconfident, as we saw when we faced Bayern Munich in the last episode. Halfway through the first half, absolutely nothing has happened. This has been a little bit of a theme with some of our big Champions League games this year. You saw it earlier on in the season against Barcelona, against Paris Saint-Germain. Very, very tight games, not very much going on. And then we turned up towards the end with a late goal. Obviously, in our home leg, we don't want to be just winning 1-0, but a win is a win. We'll take anything. As long as we don't lose, we're happy. Right, Ferreira, enjoying a little bit of a spell in the team after being stuck on the fringes while we've experimented with various fullback combinations for the last year and a half. He's started the last 2 or 3 games in a row now. He's loving life. And there's Caldera, and that should be 1-0. I think he stayed onside. No sign of a linesman's flag. And I think that's 1-0 from a set piece. We do love a set piece round these parts. It's Ruiz with the free kick. It comes back off the post, and Caldera, the centre-back, is the quickest man to react, which you wouldn't necessarily expect, but he was basically unmarked and had a tap into an open goal. So 1-0, jolly good. And Roma trying to do the immediate counter, but just blast it way over from miles out. They're never going to beat the best goalkeeper in the world from that kind of range, but they are going for another attack before we hit half time. And this one does look a little bit more promising. They found themselves in the area. That's a goal line clearance from Suarez. Goodness me. What a piece of defending. Carlos was beaten, but Suarez is there. The ball had been stabbed towards the net by the Roma player, and Suarez just hacks it off the line to maintain the clean sheet. What an important player he is. Goodness me, the 2 centre-backs so far today doing quite good things between the two of them. It remains 1-0 as we get going into the second half. I mean, you can see how much of a chance that was by how much XG Roma are allocated from it as well. It was a huge opportunity. remarkable defending from Suarez, and it's 1-0 as we head towards the final 20 minutes. So that is the cue for Connor Egan to come on. We're also going to bring on Garcia. He'll play as an inverted fullback. We're not going to adjust anything else. We'll just play with those three and let Ferreira push on, similar to what we did last year with Van Veen pushing on from the left. We are going to bring Ilunga on the left hand side. I think I've kind of given up on Cessped. Although, I mean, to be fair, when he comes off the bench, he's quite good, isn't he? I just can't justify starting him. I don't necessarily like buying players ready-made. Ilunga excites me far more. Although I imagine if we look at Ilunga, his rating's probably lower. Yeah. Am I backing the wrong horse here? Maybe I need to give Cessped more of an opportunity. 5 starts, but averaging a 7.4 because of all the substitute appearances. But he often does come on when we're already comfortably winning. So it's a tricky one. Right, we are going to take off. We're not going to take off Suarez. That would be absolute madness. We will take off Ruiz, and I think we will bring on Cessped here. We'll give him an opportunity, push Ilunga back into midfield, and then we'll bring on Oliveira on the other side. You can see Kai Norman North has made it onto the bench as well. When I first arrived at Dortmund and we didn't have a striker, he played one game as striker as like a 17-year-old, scored a couple of goals. He's since been out on loan for 3 years, but we recalled him in January when the Nick Jonas brothers went out on loan to give us another homegrown youngster to go into our Champions League squad. He's 22 now, not really a youngster anymore, and similar to the Nick Jonas brothers, he ain't ever going to make it here. Despite how promising he looked young, we've just signed too many really, really good young players in his way. Oliveira, an example of that. But it's nice to have him knocking around in the squad. And Ilunga nips in between the two defenders. It's sloppy defending from Roma, and that is going to be a very, very important goal. 93 minutes gone, and Ilunga just ducks in. I mean, I don't know where Egan is. That's the kind of goal you expect from Connor Egan. Egan doing the pressing there, and they just sloppily play it across, and Ilunga just gets there first. He's through on goal and justifies how much I've backed him so far by not messing up. Excellent composure, finds the back of the net, 2-0. I feel a lot more comfortable heading to Rome than I did at 1-0. Let's go do the second leg. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about the Bundesliga. A 0-0 draw with 4th place Borussia Mönchengladbach, while Bayern Munich just continue to win and win and win and win. I don't think they've even got Champions League to worry about. No, they are just focused domestically and haven't lost a Bundesliga game since, oh my word, since we beat them 8-0. That was the last game they lost back in September. They are just absolutely relentless. They're now level on points with us. We're way ahead of them on goal difference. We cannot afford to drop any more points because I don't think they're going to. This is becoming quite the title race. But we're not worrying about that right now. Right now, we're focusing on Roma. Jude Bellingham is back, so he comes back into midfield. Can't play the full game, but he is moaning again, as he always is, about not getting enough game time. So we're going to play him when we're able to. Unfortunately, Ferreira, after picking up, after playing a few games in a row, did pick up a knock and missed the Mönchengladbach game, and I've now decided I like this again because it looks nice. I really like it. So he has to sit this one out. Schikowski comes back in at right back, with Gray going back to being the inverted left back again. Otherwise, it is the team we all know so well at this point, but we've got to remember to keep an eye on Bellingham. Can't risk him for the full 90 minutes. Gonna need him for that run-in. Definitely going to need him if Bayern Munich continue doing what they're doing. So let's not break him, but at the same time, let's not upset him. It's quite the balance we need to strike with young Jude, who's actually old Jude now. Blimey, Lille have just gone 2-0 up really, really quickly over Lyon. Barcelona beating AC Milan. I don't think. 1 second. I thought that said Leicester. It's Inter. I don't know how I read Leicester there. There's read Leicester. Good work, Kev. There's no way Leicester would ever get in the Champions League, surely. Right, Carlos plays it forward to Suarez. I just love this shape. Look how far forward Gray is. He's so far ahead of Van Eijsma. He's an extra centre mid, never mind an extra defensive midfielder. Caldera across to Schikowski, and now he gives it to Van Eijma. Bellingham, we're much better in possession when we have that extra man in midfield. Who'd have thought? Herrera trying to grab himself a goal when he perhaps could have laid it off to Big Kev for something a little more productive, but we've won a corner out of it, and it's great to hit the in-swinger, which has been such a source of goals for us this season, but unfortunately it's cleared, and Herrera not able to keep it in. A pretty heavy touch from Herrera, very much unlike him, but it remains 0-0, of course 2-0 on aggregate, and now Schikowski's injured, and after all that talk we're going straight back to this again. So I mean, the game is very much dictating to me at the moment what I do with my fullbacks. It forced me into not playing Ferreira against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and now it's forced me to bring him back in again as soon as he's fit by injuring Schikowski. I mean, there are other options we could have done. We could have put Caldera out there, but the Velletti, the other right back option that we've got, is actually out on loan. So if Schikowski's proper injured, we're playing normal fullbacks for the rest of the season. At least on that side, we might have to fiddle with things even further if we decide we need to do something with some kind of libero inverted defender. I mean, there's nothing to say we can't do a libero and a wing back at the same time. Just play a back two. That won't go wrong. Probably shouldn't do that in the Champions League, should I? 0-0 as we hit half time. Just see this one out, lads. We don't need to do anything fancy at this point. Just see the game out. Worry about Schikowski because we do need him. He's a very important player for us. Big Kev heads clear, Gray heads clearer, and it's back with Roma. But the highlight continues, which suggests they're going to create something here. They've gone past our man very, very easily there. Goodness me. Antonio Carlos, I think, probably had it covered, but that was a pretty fast piece of attacking there. We need to keep an eye on Bellingham. We're coming to that point of the game where we're going to take him off, and I think we actually would benefit from having Ayadelli in midfield anyway. I'm starting to feel like, and I'm going to say this quietly so I don't upset the Jude Bellingham fan club, but I'm starting to feel like maybe I prefer us with Ayadelli in the team. I really like Ayadelli. Maybe Bellingham needs to compete with Ruiz rather than Ayadelli, and we get Ayadelli back in the team properly. Hiskey is in, and Emil Hiskey smashes it into that far top corner. He should not be scoring in that part of the net from that part of the football pitch. It shouldn't be possible, but he does it so often. That is your Emil Hiskey trademark goal. And that's us into the semi-finals of the Champions League. There's not going to be any coming back from this for Roma. What a finish that was. 1-0 on the night, 3-0 on aggregate. It's only our second shot on target in the match. And it absolutely shouldn't have been. The man is ridiculous. Right, Big Kev is tiring. This is our final submission. In fact, Big Kev's taken a knock. This is problematic. We're going to make 3 substitutions here because I've messed up my stoppages. So Egan's going to come on. We're also going to take off Herrera and bring on Oliveira. And then I think for the last one, we take off Van Eijma and we are going to bring on Ilunga and just shuffle everybody around in there and do that. And hope that nobody picks up a knock with 20 plus minutes of the game left. We've already potentially lost Schikowski and Big Kev, which would be 2 very significant losses, not least of which to our set piece prowess, because they're 2 of our biggest players. Roma on a little bit of a counter attack, but Ilunga looks really good. That rating that we saw for him in the last match, that average rating, not indicative at all of what I'm seeing when we play him in matches. Oliveira doing very well there, finds Ruiz. Ruiz looking for an option, tries to give it to Ferreira, can't squeeze it through to him, but it falls to Ayadelli, who's got acres of space, and he has got a shot on him, not with his left foot though. Don't really know why he's taken that onto his left. He's a right footer and would have scored on his right foot. Maybe, probably, would have at least tested the goalkeeper. As it was, he just made sure that the people in the upper tier were paying attention. Roma have got in behind us again here. Gray, is it Gray? Is Gray still on? Gray is still on. He's positioning defensively. He's a force going forward, but his defensive positioning is very problematic. Just checking he's not still on the inverted wing-back position. He's not. He's a complete wing-back, which I know means he's going to be very attacking. But the amount of times we see players get in behind him, and luckily Suarez is so good that more often than not he covers for him. But it is a little bit of a danger zone for us when we play with this more traditional back four, because we do get left with just the two defenders, because Ferreira and Gray both charge forward and tend to just stay there. They don't bother coming back very often. They're confident they're not needed. Look, even there, Gray's completely out of position, but Suarez is there covering for him. Oliveira back to Caldere. Suarez looks for Gray. There he is. He's found him. He's actually stood on the left-hand side of the pitch, which is a lovely little novelty. He almost looks like he's covering his man, but no, now he's decided to give himself a little bit of space. And now Ruiz to Egan. I don't know where the referee's coming from, but Ilunga's in again. And Jules Ilunga has had quite the breakout performance in this episode, I think. It's his second 93rd minute goal of the tie, and just rubber stamps our spot in the semi-final. It was never really in doubt, but Ilunga, I mentioned when he signed, he was basically a Carrier new gen. He's starting to look like it. I am very impressed with what I see from Ilunga, who's also French, I think 3 or 4 years younger than Carrier, and another one who's going to be vying for that, taking the Jude Bellingham spot when it becomes time for him to move on. Right, Schakowski's done his ankle ligaments. He's going to be out for 2 weeks. Big Kev, knee ligaments, 2 weeks. Who are we playing next? When do we find out? We should find out soon. I'm just going to rest the players because we're playing so much football. We're starting to pick up knocks, but if we hit continue, we should find out who we're playing. When do we find out who we're playing? I thought the draw had already been made for the semi-final. Oh, no, it's not drawn until the 23rd. Well, there you go. It's going to be a surprise in the next episode. The next episode will be the semi-final, the quarter-final. Hang on. Was that only the round of 16? Oh, I thought we were in the semi-final. It's only the blooming quarter-final. Well, that's sad. We'll do that tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.